Okay, let's say some prayers. Whoever knows, please chant with me. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapaskam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Satam Sajivam साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सागण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्कायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. We'll say some more prayers later, but let's start with a little bit of introduction. So who here is familiar with or has heard of Srimad Bhagavatam? Okay, okay. So, okay, who here has heard of Bhagavad Gita? Right? Everyone knows about Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So, Bhagavad Gita, as you know, is a conversation between Krishna, Lord Krishna, and Arjun, right? On the battlefield of Mahabharata in Kurukshetra. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Arjun asked many questions to Krishna, and Krishna answered them, right? So, he gave a lot of philosophy. He covered a lot of points about how to live this life. What is this world about? Why are we here? What is our goal? What is our purpose? What is the human life for? Where do we have to go? What is our relationship with him, right? It talks about yoga, it talks about jiva, it talks about Bhagwan, it talks about Prakriti, and very importantly, it talks about kal or time, how we are stuck in the cycle of birth and death based on our activities. So just a very prelim understanding of Bhagavad Gita, right? Srimad Bhagavatam is, you can say, next level of study, but it doesn't mean that you have to have read Bhagavad Gita to study Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam is a Puran. So you know that Vedas compiled many Vedic literatures, 4 Vedas, there were 108 Upanishads, and there were 18 Puranas. Out of those Puranas, this is Bhagavatam Puran, which is considered the topmost Puran of all. And why is that? We'll understand that today. Why we need to have Srimad Bhagavatam in our homes. Whether we read it or not is secondary, but at least have it in our homes. Srimad Bhagavatam is not only philosophy. It is descriptions. Whatever Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, that has been acted out in Srimad Bhagavatam by his devotees. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a lot of stories, is a lot of activities of devotees with Krishna, and they are showing with their character, with their conduct, with their personality, with their dealings between each other and dealings with different situations, how to act that knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is just knowledge and philosophy. This is the Mahabhagavad devotees of Krishna acting on that knowledge and conducting themselves according to Bhagavad Gita. So this is full of stories or exchanges of Krishna with his devotees. So this has stories of Prahlad Maharaj, it has stories of Dhruv Maharaj and Gajendra and Pandavas and Queen Kunti and Bhishma Dev. So many stories are there. So it's full of various, you can say, incarnations of Krishna, when Krishna came at different times, in different moods, different forms, and exchanged different type of rasas, different type of emotions with different devotees according to their desires. So this is full of stories. So even if you find that, oh, Bhagavad Gita is very hard for me to understand, it goes over my head, I tell you that you should read Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam is just full of love. It's another name for this is Book of Divine Love. Prema Pumartho Mahan. It is full of devotional service, pure bhakti, pure love for Lord. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave like a sense or sar of all Vedas. He gave conclusion of all Vedas, Vedic scriptures. So he gave various paths. He talked about karma and gyan, and you can sit in meditation, and you can sit in dhyan and go to forest if you want, sit on kusha grass. None of those really apply to us in this time and age, right? We're not going to leave our home and go to forest and do all these things. But he gave still a lot of knowledge that may be applicable to different people with different consciousness. So he gave knowledge, very widespread knowledge that may be applicable to different people. But Bhagavatam is only and only full of bhakti or prem or love for Krishna. How these loving devotees express their love for Krishna, how they live their life, how they deal with different difficulties, adversities in their life, how they tolerate various situations, various negativities. So they show us how to live that life that Krishna talked about in Bhagavad Gita. So this is higher than Bhagavad Gita, because this is not spoken by Krishna. This is spoken by his devotees. Think about it. If I'm going to talk about myself, I'm just going to tell you a little something superficial, right? I'm not going to go into details. But when my loved one talks about me, let's say my daughter, she's not here today. If she was talking about me, she would tell you all the details. Mummy ko ye khana pasand hai, ye color pasand hai, she likes to go there, this is her best friend. So she will give you all the details, right? Nothing held back. So in Bhagavatam, since the devotees are talking that are very closely connected to Krishna, they are not holding anything back. They're giving you all the details of Krishna. They're, helping you connect to him. They're giving you his sweetness, not just his knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is mostly gyan, but this is more vigyan, meaning these devotees who have applied this knowledge in their life, who have a very close connection, very close relationship with Krishna, are now giving you their love. They're giving you all the details of Krishna, name, forms, qualities, pastimes, everything about Krishna. So this is full of Nam, Roop, Gun, Leela of Krishna. So that's why it is considered the book of divine love and is the topmost literature, because it only and only talks about bhakti yoga, or the topmost path of connection to the Lord. So let's get started a little. Today my topic was becoming fearless. So this is in my another life, I think that in one life we live many lives. In my previous life, I used to read a lot of books, and I don't think there was any book that I had not read. This was one author whose all his books I had read. I think 13 of those I had read. There must be more by now. But he said something that I now feel about Srimad Bhagavatam. He said that sometimes you read a book, it fills you with this weird evangelical zeal, and you become convinced that the shattered world will never be put back together unless and until all living humans read the book. I really feel that way about Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's the reason we are coming all the way from Jackson to give you this book. We are reading it daily, we are understanding, we're trying to develop and explore our relationship with Krishna. And I really feel, and I know that our teachers, our beloved acharyas, like Swami Prabhupada, he also believed that all gentlemen and gentle ladies should have Srimad Bhagavatam in their homes. So I really think that the shattered world will be fixed, will be healed. I'm a physician, I'm a doctor, that's what I do. So I really think that by having this book in the home, and if you can even read, even if you read one word, forget one verse, one word, and that's why I want to have you read a lot of verses today. So your lives will become auspicious just by reading and hearing these verses today. Our acharyas also say that if you have not seen Srimad Bhagavatam, heard the word Srimad Bhagavatam, then the auspiciousness in your life has not begun yet. So the life has not started really. And Srimad Bhagavatam, like I was saying before, it is a Granth avatar of Krishna, meaning that, Krishna appears in many forms. He appears in the form of Govardhan. right? So Govardhan is one of the forms of Krishna. He appears in the form of a deity. He appears in the form of a stone like Shaligram Shila. So he appears in many forms. And Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the Granth Avatar or the book incarnation of Krishna. There are 12 books in this, okay? You don't have to be intimidated by this. It's not like we have to finish, it's not like a materialistic book that you have to finish. You have to relish it. It's like nectar. You have to drink it. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I have to finish this book in this lifetime. At least start and drink, and Krishna will give you the strength and, power to finish this book. But this is Granth Avatar. So the first two cantos are described as the feet of Krishna. Book third and fourth is described as his thighs. Book fifth is his abdomen. Book sixth is his chest. Book seventh and eighth is his arms. Book ninth is his throat. Book 10, who will say? His face. Mukharvind, his lotus face. Because book 10 talks only about Vrindavan. Well, book 10 talks not only Vrindavan, but it talks about Krishna's Leelas. And book 11 is his forehead, Mastak, and book 12 is his head. So who knows who is the primary, who compiled Srimad Bhagavatam? Let's say who's the author, or you can say who brought Srimad Bhagavatam? Srila Vyasdev, right? Ved Vyas. So Ved Vyas is the compiler of all Vedic literature. He compiled all the Puranas and everything. And there was a time when he was feeling very dissatisfied with himself. He wrote all this literature, yet he was not happy. He was not santusht. He was very dissatisfied with himself. I have done all this. I have written all this, yet there is something that is incomplete. So he was feeling very disappointed, and he did not know what that feeling is. What do I need to do more? I have done so much. So then his guru came. And who's his guru? Narad Muni. Narad Muni came. So we should look to our guru when we are having problems, difficulties, especially spiritual difficulties. So he could read the heart of his disciple Ved Vyas, and he told Ved Vyas that you have written all this Vedas, you have given all this Karma Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Gyan Yoga, all these demigod worship, all this ritualistic, materialistic type of worship where people go to Devi Devtas and they want various desires and they do all this worship with so many paraphernalia every day, but they're not really connecting to the Lord. So they're still stuck in this cycle of birth and death. So they're still staying in this material world by all these processes. And some of these processes are very difficult. So you have not given them the pure love of the Lord. So you need to compile Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam is eternal. It's not like it. Ved Vyas is just an instrument of bringing it for us in the pages in this written form. And so Narad Muni basically instructed him to compile Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are 12 books in it, and there are 18,000 verses. Okay. Don't be, again, like I said, don't be intimidated by that. This is Krishna himself. This is a deity of Krishna. So actually on your altar, if you just have Srimad Bhagavatam like this, that's all you need. This is Krishna himself. And it's, how we decorate the deities, right? How we put ornaments and beautiful clothes on them and turban and peacock feather and whatnot. How do you decorate Srimad Bhagavatam? You open it, you highlight it, you underline it, you write your notes in the margins, you write your questions, you write your realizations. That's the decoration of Srimad Bhagavatam, reading it, delving into it, reciting the verses, trying to memorize the verses if you can, thinking about all the pastimes, all the activities of Gajendra and Prahlad and Dhruv and Parikshit and Uttara and all these wonderful, beautiful devotees. That's the decoration, the worship of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, so when did it appear? When was this instruction given to Ved Vyas by Narad Muni? So you know which yuga we are in? You know that there are 4 yugas, right? Who can name the 4 yugas in the correct sequence? Satyug, Treta Yuga, when Lord Ram came, right? Satyug, when Lord Narasimha came. Treta Yuga, when Lord Ram came. Dwapar Yuga, when Krishna came. And Kali Yuga, when Mahaprabhu came. So okay. So so when did it come? At the end of Dwapar Yuga, right? So I'm going to show you many verses, okay? But basically, when Krishna finished, wrapped up his pastimes, and he left this material world, this verse says that he took everything with him, and there was darkness. So Krishna is like sun, And when sun goes, night comes. So it was a very dark time. It was a very difficult time because Kali Yuga was going to start. Krishna had left the planet, and this verse says all the dharma, gyan, religion, knowledge, everything went away with him. And so Krishna has to come back. Krishna has to stay in this material world in one form or the other. So what form did Krishna appear in? In the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll tell you the story of how he appeared, how Srimad Bhagavatam appeared, okay? But Krishna has left the planet, and we'll see what happens. So this verse says, Krishne swadhamopagate. Krishna apne dham chale gaye. Swadhamopagate. Apne dham chale gaye, right? Everybody understands Hindi, right? Okay, I can switch between Hindi and English. Dharma jnana dibisaha. Is Siddharth here? Siddharth? Does he understand Hindi? Okay. धर्मा ज्ञानादिबी सहा. धर्म और ज्ञान को साथ लेके अपने धाम चले गए. कलाउ नष्टा दृशम मेषा. So a dense darkness of Kali was about to start. Kali Yuga was about to start. Puranar ko dhunodita. So then this beautiful sun of Srimad Bhagavatam arose when Krishna had left. So we'll see for Bhagavatam to come, what arrangement was made. And an arrangement was made so that Srimad Bhagavatam could manifest. Okay. So we'll see what happened, what arrangement was made. But before I go deeper into Srimad Bhagavatam, let's say some prayers for Srimad Bhagavatam. Whoever knows, please recite with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everybody.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Nārayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudire. Nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavad sevaya. Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. This is the Khulja Simsim mantra to enter into Srimad Bhagavatam. So before we enter into the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to say Khulja Simsim. And then there are jewels and ornaments and right. So this is a prayer by a very wonderful teacher of ours. His name is Sanatan Goswami. So he declared that Srimad Bhagavatam this is my relationship with Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is the relationship we are trying to establish with Srimad Bhagavatam. Mad ek bandho mad sangin, mad guru man mahadhana, mad nistarka mad bhagya, mad ananda namostate. O Srimad Bhagavatam, mad ek bandho, you are my only friend. Mad sangin, you're my only companion, like a spouse, like a wife, my companion who supports me. Mad guru, you're my teacher. Man mahadhana, you're my greatest wealth. Man nistarka, you deliver me, you're my deliverer. Mad bhagya, you're my good fortune. Mad ananda, you're my bliss. Namostate, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. And this is not, somebody asked Narad Muni, how often should we read Srimad Bhagavatam? Should we read it daily? Should we read it monthly, weekly, like a sermon in the church every Sunday to Sunday class, huh? Yes, Madhuji. Daily, Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya, right? So he said a very beautiful verse. Narad Muni said, Sada Sevya, Srimad Bhagavatam Katha, Yasya Shravan Matrena, Hari Chittam Samashrayet. ये बहुत बड़ी बात है. Think about it. Yasya Shravan Matrena, just by hearing this, Hari Chittam Samashrita, Hari will enter into your heart. Sada Sevya. So every day, all the time, don't think about it, all the time. It's nectar. If somebody gives you nectar to drink, which has no side effects, if you eat rasgulla or gulab jamun, let's say I like to eat gulab jamun, but I can only eat maybe, let's say, 5 gulab jamuns. After that, I'll be running to the bathroom, right? Back and forth. So many side effects in this material world if you take a lot of something, right? A lot of sugar, a lot of nectar. But this is a nectar, this is an elixir, this is an ambrosia, honey, that you can keep drinking and your bliss keeps increasing. It doesn't give you any side effects, no side effects. So why won't you drink it all the time when it gives you ever increasing bliss? Have you ever heard of something that gives you ever increasing bliss? Even if I eat too many samosas that I like to eat, it will not give me ever increasing bliss. At some point, my stomach will hurt. At some point, I'll feel the problem, right? So in material world, there is not a single thing that if you take a lot, you will feel ever increasing bliss. So this will give you ever increasing bliss. Why won't you drink it all the time? So Narad Muni says, Sada Sevya, because what happens? What is the ultimate goal? Hari Chittam Samashrit. Hari will enter into your heart. Hari is already there. The problem is, Hari is already there. We just disconnected from him. We are not trying to explore our relationship with him at all. We are absorbed in this world. We are very much attached to this world. We are attached to the body. We are attached to our house and our job and all this. So that will bring me to the topic for today about fear. How to become fearless, how Srimad Bhagavatam makes you fearless. And I will give you many examples from Srimad Bhagavatam, many stories, how these devotees became fearless. Nirbhay. My husband's name is Nirbhay. He's not here. He's typically sitting front and center. Um, but I know he's missing this association. He loves to be here. But Nirbhay, that's what this Srimad Bhagavatam will make us. So कैसे निर्भय बन सकते हैं? Let's discuss that. So what do you think? What are we fearful of in this world? In this world, what are, like right now? Think of your current fear. What makes us fearful?
Losing family, losing our wealth,
Losing something, losing property, wealth, name in this world, reputation, fame, health, right? Getting some disease, some sickness. I don't know, losing your job, something like that. That's why we have to have so many insurances, so many insurances. We have to get pet skill insurance, home insurance, auto insurance. In my profession, medical legal malpractice insurance, right? What else? I'm forgetting, but insurance for everything, right? Because what is this world a very wonderful place of happiness and everything will go your way. जो आप चाहते हो वो होगा. जो हमने plan बनाया है वो success होगा ही होगा. Is there a guarantee? Like everything is hunky dory, wonderful here. What does Krishna say about this world in Bhagavad Gita? How does he describe this world? Who can tell me? Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Alay kya hota hai? Like Granthalay is a library, right? Where granthas are kept. Or so many shauchalaya. Well, so many alays. Alay means home, right? So he says Dukhalayam. Dukhalayam means this is a home of dukhas. So yes, you're trying to find happiness here, but ultimately everything here is temporary. Everything has a beginning and an end. So he also says another word he says other than dukhalyam, ashashvatam, meaning it's temporary, it's not shashvat. Another word he says, nityam sukham lokam. This world is nityam sukham. It's temporary. It is bound to give you dukkhas, no matter how you try here. And the basic knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is that we are not this body, we are the soul. But the reason we are feeling fear is because we are very attached to this body. We are very attached to the bodily identifications. So our job is our identification, our house, our car, our loved ones, these are all attachments of the body. And these attachments will break one day. But we are holding on to them very tight. We are very absorbed in them. Since we are so attached to them, so absorbed in them, that we are very fearful that one day we will lose these. And that is what brings us fear. So this uncertainty that I will not be able to maintain status quo in my life, that brings uncertainty, that brings fear. So what do we have to do? Since we have so much material attachment, we have to detach ourselves a little, right? Now, we're not saying that you go to forest. I already told you we don't have to do that. But what do we have to do? We have to find a little time every day in our life where we can detach from this world, detach from these bodily identifications a little bit and attach to the Paramatma, to the Bhagwan, right? So attached to your original nature, and that will take you away from fear. So the fear is coming because of too much absorption in this world. So let's go deep into this. Okay. Now going back, who is the? So we discussed who is the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. Everybody knows Ved Vyas is the author. Who is the main speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam? In the books, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the main speaker. Krishna and Arjuna are the speaker, right? One is asking question, other is answering. In Bhagavatam is a lot of dialogues. That is another thing that makes Bhagavatam more interesting to read than Bhagavad Gita, because there are dialogues going on. What did I tell you? We are discussing many things, and that dialogue goes in the books. And remember, these great personalities, unlike us, they wouldn't talk about politics or Bollywood or Hollywood or cricket or war and stock market, right? They were not talking about these. These great personalities, for example, if Yudhishthir Maharaj is talking to Narad Muni, he's asking very relevant uh, questions about self-realization, about his connection with the Lord, how to improve that connection, very spiritual questions he's asking. So there are many such dialogues in Srimad Bhagavatam. So every few chapters, the dialogue may change. So sometimes there is dialogue between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narad Muni. Sometimes there is a dialogue between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. Sometimes there is a dialogue between Shaunak Rishi and the sages of Naimisharanya. So like that, there are many dialogues going on. Sometimes there is a dialogue between Yamraj with somebody else. Like that. Many wonderful discussions going on. And every time they have a discussion, what do? Harikatha. Because unlike us, they immerse in Harikatha. So जब भी कोई question पूछता है, so they say, okay, I'll tell you. Like you ask me a problem, and I'll tell you the solution of that problem through some devotee of the Lord. So I'll tell you I'll give you a reference of another devotee. So like that, there are tales within tales, tales within tales in Srimad Bhagavatam. But still there is a main speaker and a main person who's answering the question and the one who's hearing. Who are those two great personalities? Shukdev Goswami and Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj. Who is Shukdev Goswami? Shukdev Goswami. Vyasdev's son. So Vyasdev compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, and Shukdev Goswami is speaking it. Who is he speaking to? King Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit. Who is Parikshit?
He is Abhimanyu's son. Is it Abhimanyu?
Yes, Madhu. Abhimanyu's son. So he's Arjun's. What is the relationship with Arjun then? He's Arjuna's grandson, right? And you remember Abhimanyu, the great hero who was unfairly killed in the battle, right? So he's Abhimanyu and Uttara's son. Abhimanyu and Uttara's son. We'll talk about both Parikshit and Uttara today. So these two great personalities. This is Shukdev Goswami. Okay, my arrow is not seen here. So on the higher seat, the speaker, typically sits on the higher seat is Shukdev Goswami, and King Parikshit is sitting at his feet. And these are various sages, and of course you can see the great Narad Muni and many wonderful sages and saints are there. They already know the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, but whenever Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken, these wonderful personalities are there. So Narad Muni, it is said that Prabhupada used to say, and it is said by many other acharyas also, that whenever there is Srimad Bhagavatam discourse going on, Narad Muni is always there. So Narad Muni is here to take your attendance for the Lord Hari. जैसे राम कथा के लिए बोलते हैं ना, हनुमान जी आते हैं राम कथा सुनने, ऐसे ही you can see Narad Muni sitting front and center. I don't know if you can see the one with the veena, always carrying the veena. So okay, so let's see what happened. How I was telling you that there was an arrangement made how Srimad Bhagavatam manifested. How Parikshit Maharaj, a great king, he was ruling the whole Bharatvarsh. And that time Bharatvarsh used to be the whole earth basically, whole world. So how this great personality came to hear Srimad Bhagavatam? He's already a devotee of the Lord, but what happened? So he came into a very fearful situation, okay? Because we're talking about fear, so let's understand what happened to him. So Parikshit was once in a forest, and he was very thirsty. He got very thirsty, very hungry, and he wanted some water to drink. he came across the ashram of a sage. He entered into the ashram, and typical Vedic etiquettes, Vedic culture is that when a guest comes, and this is the king of the whole world that's coming to your doorstep. But even if it's not a king, even if it's a beggar, anybody that comes to your house, you're supposed to give them a seat, give them some water, give them some sweet words. Even if you don't have, even if you're very poor, you can at least give them sweet words, right, and a seat to sit. So that's our Vedic culture. But when king entered into this ashram, the sage Shamik Rishi, whose ashram this was sitting in dhyan. He was sitting in very deep meditation on the Lord. Okay, so this Shamik Rishi is in a very deep samadhi, very deeply connected to the Lord. So Parikshit tried to um, wake him from his samadhi, but Shamik was not waking up, was not coming out of that consciousness, which is wonderful, right? Amazing. But Parikshit, now, despite being a great devotee, some some arrangement was made, of course, by Krishna's will, that he came into this bewilderment. He did something very horrible. What did he do? He was very offended by this act of Shamik not offering him seat or sweet words or water, and he's very thirsty. And this is the king of the world who has come there. Typically, devotees don't have any pride or arrogance, but that moment, his intelligence was overcome by anger, and he did a very abominable act. What did he do? He took a dead snake from the ground and put it across the neck of Shamik Rishi. This was a gesture of insult. Like death itself is inauspicious, and a dead snake is very inauspicious. Just to say insult Rishi basically. And he walked off. But he had walked off just a little bit, and he was overcome by grief, by remorse. He was like, "What did I do? I insulted a great sage who was sitting in connection with the Lord, and I'm a devotee of the Lord, and I had to set a better example than this. I'm the king. Whatever leader does, the followers follow. And what did I do? This is horrible. I should be severely punished for this." And lo and behold, the punishment was waiting for him. What punishment? Shamik Rishi, when he woke up from his samadhi, he was not very worried about this thing. He just, threw it away. That's how typically the devotees are. Some personal insults, some slights, they just ignore those. Fine. But his son, who was young, was very offended by this treatment of his father, Shringi. Shringi was his young teenage son. And in those times, Brahmins used to be very potent, very powerful. So when they curse somebody, it actually means something. So this young fellow, this young boy, in his immaturity, he gave a very horrible curse. He gave a very severe punishment to King Parikshit. He said that I curse King Parikshit to die in 7 days, and he will be bitten by a snake bird. Now, this was a very disproportionate type of punishment, because the gesture was insulting, yes, but to consider that this is a great, wonderful devotee who's ruling the kingdom for so many years so righteously, and under his rule the kingdom is flourishing, the people are Kali Yuga was not able to start. Bhagavatam describes Kali Yuga was not starting because Parikshit is ruling. Because when there is a righteous, wonderful devotee on the planet, the darkness cannot come. So until Parikshit was ruling, Kali Yuga was not coming. This was another reason. This was another premise that needed to be made. Another setting the scene. We're all Krishna's puppets. So through his devotees, he sets very difficult examples sometimes. He makes his devotees do difficult things. So in this way, he used Parikshit as his instrument, not only to manifest Bhagavatam, but also to bring Kali Yuga, because Kali Yuga has to come. So Shringi cursed him to die in 7 days, and Parikshit, with folded hands, accepted. So that's the mood of the devotees. If you're cursed, if you're neglected. And this wonderful verse actually tells you that the devotees of the Lord are very forbearing. Tiraskrita Vipralabdha. Can we open some of these Canto 1? Can you help that? Open some of Mataji's books, so we are not in the cover anymore. Let's not leave them as it is. Let's open them. Tiraskrita, tiraskar ho unka, vipralabdha, when they are defamed, when they are cheated, when they are neglected, when they're disturbed, they are never inclined to avenge themselves. So typically devotees do not retaliate, do not counter curse. He could have counter cursed. He could have punished Shringi for this amount of very severe punishment to kill somebody for a um, uh, for a gesture. So this is a fearful situation for Parikshit, isn't it? In 7 days, he's going to lose his kingdom, he's going to lose his life, he's going to lose his treasury, wealth, loved ones, everything. So what did Parikshit do? Parikshit asked his seniors, because in those days kings used to be very righteous. They were representatives of the Lord. So they will take guidance from their spiritual mentors and guides. So he called many different sages, and I have 7 days to live. I have accepted this curse on my head. I am ready to leave. What is my duty in last 7 days? What should I do? How should I spend my last 7 days? Now think about it. What would we have said if we knew that we have 7 days? We'll have our bucket list ready, right? Vegas jana hai, Disneyland jana hai, Hawaii nahi gaye, yeah, or kya? I don't know, bungee jumping, yeah, skydiving, yeah, kayaking or something. We would have, so we would have had our bucket list ready. Lekin what did Parikshit say? What did these sages recommend to Parikshit? They said, hear Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days and 7 nights. And all these sages unanimously agreed that Shukdev was only 16 years old. But they said, call Shukdev. Shukdev is the Vairagya Chudamani. He's the most detached personality. They didn't say call Vyasadev. They didn't say Narad Muni. These are the people by whom Bhagavatam has been compiled. They said Shukdev, son of Vyasadev, to speak Srimad Bhagavatam to you for 7 days and 7 nights. And imagine Parikshit, who was so hungry and so thirsty that he had put this dead snake around Shamik Rishi for not giving him water. Now for 7 days and 7 nights, he's sitting without a drop of water, with one-pointed intelligence, with one-pointed focus, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. 7 दिन और 7 रात बिना रुके उन्होंने भागवतम सुनी, बिना कुछ खाए, बिना कुछ पिए. So this is how Bhagavatam manifested for us. This is a conversation between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami in the last 7 days of Parikshit Maharaj's life. Now let me ask you, Mataji, ठीक है, बस मुझे ये verse खोलनी थी, so we can have people recite verses as I. If you can find, fine. If not, that's okay. Whoever lands up with the particular book that has the verse, they can open and read that. Let me ask you, so we are all going to die. We know that we have to leave this body, right? This body is temporary situation. जैसे किसी होटल में जाते हो, 5-6 दिन के लिए रहते हो, फिर चले जाते हो आगे. This is a temporary arrangement given to you. Parikshit was also going to leave in 7 days. What is the advantage that Parikshit has compared to us in this particular situation? He knew when he's going to die. He knew. He knows when he's going to die. Do we know when we are going to die? When we are going to leave this body? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 घंटा, 1 घंटा, 1 दिन, 2 दिन. So Parikshit actually had that advantage that he knew he was going to die in 7 days. So he made full use of those 7 days to immerse himself in Srimad Bhagavatam. We don't have that advantage. So that's why it is even more important, because what if I leave my body tomorrow? I need to immerse in Srimad Bhagavatam today. It's already late. I don't even know if I have 7 days. Parikshit at least had 7 days. So we think we have, this comes in Mahabharata. Yudhishthir Maharaj told Dharmaraj, Dharma, that Yaksha who came, or Dharma who came in form of Yaksha. I'm so surprised that people are dying everywhere around us, but people still think that they are not the ones that are going to leave their body. इतने लोग मर रहे हैं हमारे चारों तरफ, लेकिन हमें लगता है हम नहीं जाएंगे, हम लोग यहाँ पे हमेशा के लिए रहने वाले. Well, be positive that hopefully we'll have enough time to read Srimad Bhagavatam in our life. But COVID में इतने लोग चले गए. So this is the topmost intelligence. This is the first class intelligence that you learn from other people's experience. You see that people are leaving their body, and you have to leave your body as well one day. But you're just wasting human life. This human life is given to you for a certain purpose for a certain time period. It was a resource. It was amazing facilities were given to you. You were given a wonderful intelligence and the facility of speech and to walk on two legs. So many things. So, you know, your opposable thumbs and your hands. For so many things, you were given such wonderful faculties, resources. But we just wasted human life in use the opposable thumb to scroll on the phone or watch TV all day long. या फिर अभी तो बहुत सारे नए नए तरीके आ गए हैं to waste time. So people don't have actually any free time. So people are very proud to claim, I'm very busy, I'm very busy. जो भी free time है उसमें we are filling it up with so many new sources of sense gratification that keep coming every day on a daily basis. And so what are we doing? We are attaching ourselves to the material world more and more and more. At least पहले क्या होता था? People used to have some free time. So उस free time में लोग कुछ हरि कथा, भगवत कथा, राम कथा करते थे, रामलीला करते थे, Krishna Leela karte the, right? They used to immerse their mind and intelligence and senses, these amazing faculties in attaching to the Lord in some way or the other. But now there is no time to get bored. Boredom का कोई time ही नहीं है because everybody has been, कुछ नहीं होगा तो cricket तो होगा ही, news तो होगी ही, newspaper होगा, कुछ ना कुछ तो है ही. There's numerous unlimited sources of sense gratification are there these days to occupy and to attach ourselves to this material world. So there is no time. So we have to carve time. We have to really, really think about this and carve time to connect to the Lord. So what did Parikshit do? 7 days, 7 nights, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam. And he heard with one pointed intelligence. This verse says that with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear Bhagwan Sattvatam Pati, Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha, Dhyaya Pugyascha Nityada. Every day worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, fear के बारे में थोड़ा बात करते हैं. So let's see what Bhagavatam says about fear. This is something Mary Curie said. That we should understand. So if we understand the nature of fear, so now you understand that our fear is coming because of our bodily attachments, right? The more we can detach from this body, and it will not happen very quickly. You will just have to carve a little time every day to detach from this body and to attach to this, you know, your original position of being a spirit soul. तो हम तो सिर्फ बॉडी का ही ध्यान रख रहे हैं ना, हम स्पिरिट सोल जो हम है, रियल सेल्फ, द आत्मा, उसका तो कुछ ध्यान रख नहीं रहे. तो अगर हम थोड़ा टाइम एवरी डे कार्व करें to attach to the Lord, to, you know, actually deviate from the material world, divest from the material world and invest in the Lord. अभी हम क्या करें? सारी investment is in the material world. Divest. किसी ने सुना है divestment? Divestment होता है एक business की एक टेक्निक है जहाँ पे कुछ अच्छे रिटर्न्स नहीं मिलते हैं, ऐसे बिजनेसेस को बंद कर दो जहाँ पे बहुत अच्छे रिटर्न नहीं मिलते. मटीरियल वर्ल्ड में देयर आर नो गुड रिटर्न्स. Okay, breaking news. Material world में there are no good returns. So yes, you can have 10 cars, but if you leave your body, that's it. You start again from the beginning. तो कितनी भी चीजें इकट्ठी कर लो, कुछ भी name, fame, money, property, whatever. I'm not trying to you know, this material world is also Lord's creation, but there is a way to live in this world in connection with the Supreme rather than just getting unduly attached to it without any understanding of your original self. So understand that, then fear will go down. And slowly, as you get more detached from the material world, you will still function in this world, but actually you will be able to appreciate this world better instead of being fearful of it. You will appreciate it better. You will see Krishna's presence, his all pervasiveness, his hand in everything. You know, when I came into this path of devotional service, I used to be very astonished by the devotees' language. Devotees कैसे बात करते थे? ये तो कृष्णा ने मेरे साथ जोक किया है, ये जरूर कृष्णा का अरेंजमेंट है. और बिफोर दैट आई वुड थिंक कि भगवान तो ऊपर रहते हैं, उनको मेरे से क्या लेना देना. मैं उनसे प्रे करती हूँ, कुछ मांगती हूँ, वो देते हैं या नहीं देते, राइट? दैट्स इट, दैट्स ऑल माय रिलेशनशिप. These devotees talk about Krishna as if he's personally participating in their lives. And that is true. And I discovered that when I went deeper into this path, that Krishna is actually reciprocating with me on a daily basis. I can see his hand, his plans, his arrangements in my life on a daily basis now. I am getting realizations and exchanges from him, right? So, so the fear goes away because इतने बड़े बंदे का हाथ है आपके सर पे. So what is there to be feared about? So, so understand the nature of fear, and then you will be able to divest from this material world where there is so, अभी इतना ज़्यादा invest किया हुआ है उसमें और वो जब इन्वेस्टमेंट का कुछ वापस नहीं आएगा तो फिर उससे डर लगता है कि कुछ मिलेगा नहीं, क्योंकि हमें पता है कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. So why fear arises? This is a very beautiful verse. भयं द्वितीयाभिनिवेशिताशयान् ईषादपेतस्य विपर्यो स्मृति तन्मायया तो बुधा भजेत तं भक्त्यैकैशं गुरुदेवतात्मा. So this verse says, Bhayam Dvitiya, Abhiniveshita. Abhiniveshita is what I was talking to you about. हम बहुत निवेशित हैं इस world में, हम बहुत invested हैं, बहुत attached हैं in this world में. So that investment, that attachment to something that is not our nature, because we are eternal and we are attaching ourselves to something that is temporary. That attachment to the matter by a spirit soul is causing fear. द्वितीया मतलब टू कंसिडर योर सेल्फ सेपरेट फ्रॉम द लॉर्ड. फिर इसमें एक और वर्ड आता है ईशाद अपेतस्य, भगवान से विमुख होके रहना, कृष्णा से विमुख होके रहना, उनसे दूर होके रहना, उनसे टर्निंग योर फेस अवे फ्रॉम हिम, उनसे अपने आप को अलग समझना. द्वितीय मतलब अलग समझना, ईशाद अपेतस्य टू टर्न अवे फ्रॉम हिम. सो सूरज से जब दूर जाओगे, बाहर सूरज चमक रहा है लेकिन आप घर में ही बैठे हो जहाँ पे अंधकार है. So then people will say, oh, Lord is not helping me. I'm in this difficult situation. But you're not stepping into the light. You're sitting in the darkness by your own free will. And Krishna does not interfere with anybody's free will. We have all been given our free will. He's not like controlling us like robots. Ki, surrender to me. He's saying, if you want, I've given you all this knowledge. Now you do what you wish. That's what he says to Arjuna at the end of Bhagavad Gita. So Isha the Petasya se fear hota hai, to turn away from the Lord, to consider yourself separate from the Lord, to invest in this material world a lot. Let me keep going. This is not from Bhagavatam, but I just want you to understand कि हमें और क्या क्या fear होती है इस दुनिया में. This verse says, भोगे रोग भयम. People that are enjoying this world, भोग कर रहे हैं जो, उनको रोग का डर है. Like अगर मैं बहुत खा पी रही हूँ, खाओ पियो ऐश करो, so my body will get diseased, right? भोगे रोग. कुले च्युति भयम, who are of very high family or very good reputation, च्युति means fall down, उनको fall down का डर है. वित्ते नृपालाद भयम, जो बहुत अमीर है, रिच हैं, उनको डर है कि नृपाल मतलब कि किंग के लोग आके टैक्सेस वगैरह में मेरे पैसे ले जाएंगे, टैक्स एवेजन. माने दैन्या भयन, जिनका बहुत मान है, ऑनर है कि कहीं हम मे बी वी विल बी रेंडर्ड हम्बल इन दिस सोसाइटी, जिनका मान है. बले रिपो भयम, जो बहुत पावरफुल है, स्ट्रॉन्ग है कि मुझे कहीं मैं बलहीन ना हो जाऊं. रूपे जड़ाया भयम, जो बहुत सुंदर लोग हैं, उनको ओल्ड एज का डर है कि मेरा ओल्ड एज में रूप चला जाएगा. शास्त्रे वादी भयम, जो शास्त्र जो जानते हैं, जो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट इंटेलेक्चुअल फिलोसोफर्स या स्पिरिचुअलिस्ट हैं, एडवांस, जिनको नॉलेज है स्क्रिप्चर्स की, दे वरी दैट समबडी विल कम डिबेट विद देम एंड डिफीट देम. वाद विवाद का डर है, वादे भयम. गुणे खला भयम, जिनमें बहुत क्वालिटीज हैं. अभी सब चीजें क्या हैं? ये सब चीजें बॉडीली हैं, ये सब चीजें मटीरियल हैं, और ये सब चीजें चली जाती हैं धीरे धीरे, बिकॉज इट इज द नेचर ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड टू डिग्रेड एवरीथिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड. एंड इस वर्ड को बोलते हैं एंट्रोपी. साइंस में एक वर्ड आता था एंट्रोपी. एंट्रोपी का मतलब होता है एवरीथिंग इज हेडिंग टुवर्ड्स डिस्ट्रक्शन. दैट्स व्हाई आवर बॉडी आल्सो गोज थ्रू डिजीज एंड ओल्ड एज. सो गुण खत्म हो जाएंगे मेरे, काय कृतंता, काया या बॉडी खराब हो जाएगी. सो इन सर्वम वस्तु भयान्वितम, कि सभी चीजें इस दुनिया में डर ही देती हैं अल्टीमेटली, राइट? एवरीथिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड दैट इज रिलेटेड टू योर बॉडी विल ओनली गिव यू फियर. बट वैराग्यम एवा अभयम. सो अभय होने का तरीका क्या है? वैराग्य होना, डिटैच होना थोड़ा. थोड़ा carve a little time to just detach a little, separate yourself, detach, dissociate from this world. Don't absorb so much all the time. Okay. I'll give you example of, is everybody following this so far? Is this okay? Can we go on for another maybe 20 minutes? Is that okay? किसी को पानी, कुछ खाने का? Okay, I'll give you some examples from Srimad Bhagavatam. हमने परीक्षित महाराज का सुना. परीक्षित महाराज was very fearful because he was going to leave the world in 7 days. So he took shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So one lesson, of course, if you are in a fearful situation, this material world, insurance company, lawyer, doctor, cops, yes, you can make those arrangements, yes, but ultimately you need to surrender to the Supreme Lord, right? So he did that through Srimad Bhagavatam. अब ये कौन है? Can anybody identify this lady before I put the name on the? Who is this? Yes, somebody answer. Uttara. This is Uttara. So who's Uttara? She is Abhimanyu's wife and Parikshit Maharaj's mother. अब हम story पीछे जा रही है, okay? So Parikshit Maharaj is in the womb of Uttara. Mahabharat khatam ho chuki hai. Mahabharat is over, and Parikshit is in the womb of Uttara. And who tried to kill? And Parikshit was the last survivor of the Kuru dynasty, of the Kuru lineage. And who tried to kill this Parikshit in the womb of Uttara? Ashwathama with Brahmastra. With Brahmastra. So, in presence of everyone, he threw this Brahmastra at Uttara to kill the unborn fetus, the embryo, which was Parikshit Maharaj in her womb. So, this is, remember, Arjuna's grandson. This is Abhimanyu's son in the womb of Uttara. So, Krishna was there, and Uttara surrendered to, Uttara took shelter of Krishna. And beautiful prayers by Uttara. So I'm just giving you like a sneak peek into the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. But when you read these heartfelt prayers of these Bhagavad devotees, these wonderful devotees, you will see how one needs to take shelter of the Lord, what one needs to do in a fearful situation. Is this a fearful situation for Uttara or no?
Yes.
Very fearful, right? And I'm not going to show you you don't have to read the verses, but I had put some verses. But Krishna, who is very somehow my mouse doesn't show up on this, but I'm pointing to the 11th verse. Krishna, who is very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwathama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandav family. And she offered him very, very beautiful prayers. So this was a fearful situation. Uttara would have died, her son would have died, and she prayed for her son's protection. And what did Krishna do? So Krishna, he will do amazing things for you. This is just an example. He entered into the womb of Mother Uttara and he saved little Parikshit. The same Parikshit that we're talking, that is now here in Srimad Bhagavatam. So this unborn embryo, he saved that by entering into the womb of Mother Uttara. You will see what amazing feats Krishna will do. Is there anything that's impossible for him? We are limited by our body, but he's unlimited, right? He has no beginning, no end. He's unlimited. He's the supreme personality of Godhead. So what did he do? He saved Parikshit like that. Another fearful situation. Who is this? Gajendra. This story also comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are going into the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, different chapters, different cantos. This is Gajendra. Gajendra means, Gaj means elephant. Indra means king of elephants. So he was the king of elephants, Gajendra. And he was in a very fearful situation once. What happened? He was caught. You can see the crocodile caught his foot in this pond. And this fight, they were both very powerful. So in the water, crocodile is obviously more powerful. So this fight is described as it went on for like thousands of years. This fight went on for many years. Now, Gajendra, from his previous life, and again, previous life has also been mentioned. In his previous life, he was a devotee and he had memorized some prayers. So he started reciting those prayers to the Lord. And what did he do? He didn't have anything to offer because he's stuck in this very fearful situation. But there was a lotus growing there. He plucked that lotus and he offered that. Offer to baad mein kiya, pehle Bhagwan aaye. By hearing his prayers, Vishnu came. You can see Vishnu coming on Garuda. So he came flying to help Gajendra. And he saw, oh, Lord is coming. I have to offer something. When you go to the temple, when you go to, you should take something. It is always said, you may not have anything. It's not like you have to give money. You have to give something from your heart, something. It could be, you have learned a prayer, you have learned a verse, you can offer that. Hey, Lord, I have memorized this verse for you today, for your pleasure. If nothing else, you can chant his names in front of him. I'm going to sit and chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one mala, and offer it to you. क्योंकि गंगा है, गंगा में क्या अर्पित करते हैं? गंगा का जल ही अर्पित करते हैं. भगवान की बनाई हुई चीजें ही भगवान को दी जाती, right? So Bhagwan, who is the source of unlimited light, we give him a little lamp, my little offering, like a child, we give everything to the child, but then child gives us one little card. वो कार्ड भी आपके ही पैसों से आया है ना, लेकिन वो आपको देता है तो आपको अच्छा लगता है. So like that you give something. So Gajendra, oh, Lord is coming to give him something. He forgot about the fact that he's going to die. he took a lotus जो वहाँ पे grow हो रहा था and offered that. You see that. So many things, and all these things are elaborated, and then Gajendra Moksha. So this chapter is called Gajendra Moksha. Gajendra's prayers come, beautiful prayers, and some devotees actually, read them over and over again every year. They spend 1 month just reading Gajendra's prayers every day. What nectar! This is intoxicating nectar. लोग दुनिया में दारू पीते हैं और तरह तरह के नशे करते हैं और ड्रग्स लेते हैं, but what happens, that wears off. वो हैंगओवर होता है, सर दर्द होता है, and it wears off. इसमें क्या है? It is an intoxication that keeps you high forever. आपको forever high रहना है, ever increasing high, या आपको जो अगले दिन बिल्कुल डुबा दे, गिरा दे, आप किसी काम के नहीं, ऐसा नशा करना है. This is intoxicating nectar. और एक बार पढ़ना शुरू करते हैं तो you don't want to stop. एक बार taste लग जाए, एक बार क्योंकि we are spirit souls, we are naturally connected to the super soul, to Paramatma, to Bhagwan. So when we make time, actually हम अपना time sacrifice करते हैं. जैसे I was saying, offer something. आपका time अभी आपके लिए सबसे valuable है. आप वो time offer करते हो भगवान को भागवतम पढ़ने के लिए. He gives you intelligence to understand and develop taste and come close to him. आप उनकी तरफ एक कदम लेते हो, he runs thousands of steps for you. He is more eager for you to come back than you are eager to go back to him. We have no eager, we want to stay here forever. We want to live forever. That's why scientists are making so many medicines to try to become deathless or eternal. That's not possible. That's not the nature of this world. I can guarantee you cannot become. I have women coming to me all day, every day, asking for various cosmetic treatments and हमें फिर से जवान कर दो. Can you treat my old age? So it's not possible. Yes, I can give you some, injections and fillers and Botox and everything and make you look good for the time being, but it will wear off again and you will be old again. So this is not going to last. I just say that, hey, if you're lucky, you get to become old. Because, Parikshit didn't get to become old. Abhimanyu didn't get to become old. Many people didn't get to become old. So if you're lucky, you may have enough time to actually explore your relationship in this life with the Lord. So Gajendra ने इस तरीके से offer किया. So this was his way of, he offered prayers to the Lord to overcome this fearful situation. Then there is this beautiful verse. This comes in second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. आयुर्हरति वै पुंसाम् उद्यन् अस्तं च यन् असौ तस्यर्थे यत् क्षणो नीता उत्तम श्लोका वार्तया. Who's Uttam Shloka? Uttam Shloka is another name for Krishna. Uttam Shloka means the person who's glorified in the choicest of verses, best of verses. And even if that verse is not best, even if that verse has some grammatical errors or some prose is, its meter or prose is not the topmost, it becomes Uttam, it becomes topmost because it has been sung in glorification of the Lord. So Uttam Shloka ke do meaning hote hain. Only the topmost, choicest verses are used to glorify the Lord, and any verse that glorifies the Lord becomes topmost because it's glorifying the Lord. So Uttam Shloka. So this verse is saying, Ayur Harti Vaipumsam. Of all the living entities, their age is decreasing with every sunrise and sunset. उदयन अस्तम, उदय और अस्त, सूर्य के उदय और अस्त होने से हर किसी की आयु कम हो रही है या नहीं? Yes, everybody is heading towards their last moments, right? But for which people the duration of life is not decreasing and actually increasing? उत्तम श्लोका वार्ता जो हरि कथा करते हैं. क्यों? But they are also going to die. We are doing hari katha. So am I not going to die? Of course, right? Going to go through death, disease, old age, maybe a lot of difficulties, also adversities. You saw Parikshit Maharaj, despite being a great devotee, went through so much. Prahlad went through so much. Gajendra went through so much. Mother Draupadi went through so much. Queen Kunti went through so much. So yes, devotees are also going through difficulties. They will also go towards death. They have to leave this body. So why is it saying their age is increasing? Because they are heading towards their eternal life. For other people, this is it. This is it, right? As soon as the body ends, that's it. So उन सब की आयु हटती है, उन सब की एज कम होती है. लेकिन जो उत्तम श्लोका की वार्ता करते हैं, जो हरि कथा करते हैं, those who discuss the topics of Supreme Personality of Godhead, their age is increasing because they are going towards their eternal life. So, okay, this is Brahma Ji. So Brahma Ji, can anybody guess what is going on here? We discussed about this at last Janmashtami mein, jo temple mein class thi. This is Brahma Vimohan Leela. So when Brahma ji came to offer many prayers to the little Gopal. So he says, Brahma ji starts speaking in 10th canto. I told you 10th canto is the face of Krishna. So it talks about Krishna's pastimes in detail. So he says, and this is very important verse. And if you have this verse, read the purport. You can print it. You can paste it on your wall, highlight it. Every day read the purport. Prabhupada's purport is wonderful. It's so deep. It's amazing. This verse is saying that whoever, you know, tolerates, embraces the reactions of their past misdeeds, their karmas, patiently in this life, and still keeps offering you respectful obeisances with their heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So मोस्टली क्या होता है कि जब कोई डिफिकल्टी आती है तो हम भगवान को दोष देते हैं, भगवान पे आरोप लगाते हैं कि आपने ये किया वो किया. बट पीपल दैट सफर द रिएक्शंस ऑफ देयर कर्मा, देयर पास्ट मिसडीड्स, बिकॉज इट इज आवर मिसडीड्स अल्टीमेटली. आप बैठे हो शाखा पे और उस शाखा को काट रहे हो जिस पे आप बैठे हो, तो उसमें किसी और की क्या गलती? So you have created your reactions that you're getting today, right? These were all your actions that you're reaping. The as you sow, so shall you reap, right? So you're just reaping. This is also Newton's third law. To every action there is equal and opposite reactions. That's just the law of karma. So if you just have to tolerate those because those were your actions. So he says, then to those people you give anukampa. Tatte nukampam susamekshamaano bhunjan evatmakritam vipakam. Ridvag vapur vidadan namaste. Ridvag vapu. Body, mind, and word say namaste. Still paying obeisances to the Lord. जीवेत यो मुक्ति पदे सा दया भाग. वही दया का भाग है, दया पात्र है. So Brahmaji says that this is how we can be rid of the fear. When the fearful situation comes, just tolerate it. Understand this is my past misdeed that is now coming back to me. So understand why fear is happening. Due to my excessive bodily attachment, due to just my past reactions coming back to me. It's okay. So हमारे कर्म कट रहे हैं. समझो कि कर्म कट रहे हैं. And what is the devotee's attitude towards when some difficulty, adversity comes? What do they think? One, they think मेरे कर्म कट रहे हैं. Second, they think I deserved actually much worse. ये तो कृष्णा ने कम करके दिया है. एक ही हड्डी टूटी, वैसे तो 10 टूटनी बनती थी. ये तो कृष्णा ने कम करके दिया है. So this is the attitude of a devotee that actually I deserved much worse. My past sinful reactions are much more actually. Lekin because I'm taking shelter of the Lord, I've been spared actually. और क्या बोलते हैं devotees? What do they think about the other person who's giving them difficulty? They think this person is just an instrument of my karma, right? So in this way, they just tolerate it. So, okay. Now this is another verse. Now listen to, not only Bhagavatam is instructional, motivational, devotional. It is very beautiful. It is very lyrical also. Okay, listen to this one. Also spoken by Lord Brahma. He says, समाश्रिताये पदपल्लवप्लवम् महत्पदं पुण्ययशो मुरारे. Here the word padam. How many times the word padam comes in this verse? समाश्रिताये पदपल्लवप्लवम् महत्पदं पुण्ययशो मुरारे भवाम्बुदिवात्स्पदं परं पदम् Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. So what does this verse say? So many padam, huh? And each time padam meaning changes. Okay, there's beauty, like it's amazing how Srimad Bhagavatam is. So I can't wait for Mataji to taste the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. So दुनिया के सारे दूसरे taste भूल जाओगे. So क्या बोलते हैं ब्रह्मा जी? Have you have all seen calf, right? जो बछड़ा होता है ना? बछड़े का पैर कितना छोटा सा होता है, हूफ कितना छोटा सा होता है. अगर एक बछड़े का हूफ एक मडी जगह पे प्रिंट बनाए, इम्प्रिंट, कितना छोटा सा रहेगा, राइट? छोटा सा. और ये भवसागर क्या है? Unlimited, very vast, right? This bhavsagar, this ocean of ignorance, this ocean of material world is very vast, right? The verse is saying that people who take shelter of your feet, तो हर बार पदम का मतलब बदल जाता है, कभी वो कृष्णा के फीट की बात करते हैं। सो लिसन, जिन्होंने आपके पद का आश्रय लिया है, जिन्होंने who have taken the shelter of your lotus feet, for those people the ocean of this material world shrinks to the size of the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. कि इतना बड़ा भव सागर छोटा होके उतना पानी रह जाएगा जितना एक काफ के हुफ प्रिंट में आएगा। सोच के देखो, इतना सा पानी रह जाएगा वो। Which means that the difficulties that may come for a devotee who has taken shelter of the lotus feet become very minimal actually. जैसे आप सोचो कि कोई कार जा रही है रास्ते पे, बड़ी गंदी सड़क है, एक कार है, किसी बेकार सी कोई कार है, जैसे कि क्या मारुति, नॉट टू बैश एनीबॉडी, और एक जा रही है हमर, हमर जिसके ऐसे बड़े बड़े टायर्स होते हैं, किस में आपको झटके ज्यादा लगेंगे? मारुति में, क्योंकि उसका टायर बड़ा बेकार सा है ना, पतला सा। और हमर में आप बस क्रूज करके निकल जाओगे, झटके कोई गड्ढे हैं बड़े बड़े कोई पता नहीं चलेगा, राइट? जो ये एसयूवीज होती हैं बड़ी बड़ी, जो माउंटेन्स पे चलने के लिए होती है, राइट? तो उसमें आपको नहीं पता चलेगा। लेकिन आप बेकार से किसी उस पर चले जाओ, तो आपको फील होगा, ढक 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 करते जाओगे। हाँ, so that is the power of a devotee, that their tires are so insulated they do not feel the burden of difficulties, even though they are getting the same amount of difficulties, maybe even more sometimes than regular people. Why? Because they've taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. So Bhav Sagar has shrunken by the mercy of Lord into a water contained in the print of a cow, of a calf, cow being calf. So this is Lord Brahma is saying. So what amazing! This everybody knows. This so this is what Lord will do to your difficulties. बिना anesthesia का operation, right? So आपके path में जो difficulties आएंगी, this is what happens. But what is the difference? Who will Lord come? Who will Lord come for? Will he come for all of us like this? Break the column? No, people that take shelter of him on daily basis. That is the problem. So जो भगवान का आश्रय ले रहे हैं हम, ठीक है, डिफिकल्टी में वी प्रे, बट वाज प्रहलाद प्रेइंग ओनली इन डिफिकल्टी? He was not even feeling the difficulty. That was the whole frustration of Hiranyakashipu. He is not even getting scared of me. उसने उसने प्रहलाद से पूछा कि तुम्हें मुझसे डर क्यों नहीं लग रहा? उसको ये था कि मैं इस छोटे से बच्चे को डरा नहीं पा रहा। He's not even like I'm throwing him from the mountain, I'm throwing him in front of these mad elephants and snake के पिट में बिठा दिया और फायर में बैठ गई थी उसकी होलिका लेकर उनको। Nothing is affecting. He just says Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Where are you getting power from? What is the source of your power? So he says, dear Father, I'm getting the power from same person who gives you the power. I'm getting power from Supreme Lord. तो फिर उन्होंने कहा अच्छा इस खंबे में भी है क्या वो? सो लॉर्ड विल डू सो मेनी अमेजिंग थिंग्स, यू नो। अगर वो बोलते कि इस पानी की बोतल में है, तो वो पानी की बोतल से भी निकल के आ जाते। वो तो प्रहलाद ने बोला कि इस खंबे में भी है। यस यस फादर, ही इज इन दिस कॉलम आल्सो। सो व्हाट डिड ही केम फ्रॉम दैट कॉलम। उसी में से निकल के आऊंगा क्योंकि मेरे भक्त ने बोला है, उसी कॉलम में से आऊंगा। So, and then this is what happened to that difficulty, the person who was the terrorist who was tormenting little Prahlad, right? And this is the end. So how much, you know, our Supreme Father loves us. So if you're taking shelter of him, so सिर्फ दुख में नहीं, डिफिकल्टी में नहीं याद करना, right? दुख में सिमरन सब करें, सुख में करे ना कोई, right? So let's change that mentality and let's connect on a daily basis. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the best way. It's difficult to sit in dhyan. It's difficult to sit in all the rituals and pray, these worship. Those things are okay, but they are not giving us the supreme benefit. But reading Srimad Bhagavatam few pages every day is giving you more benefit because you're connecting to the Lord directly. तो इसमें बोलते हैं भगवान क्या करते हैं अपने डिवोटीज के लिए। सत्यं विधातुं निजभृत्य भाषितं व्याप्तिं च भूतेष्वखिलेषु चात्मना अदृश्यतात्य अद्भुतरूपमुद्वहन् स्तंभे सभायां न मृगं न मानुषम्। क्या करते हैं? सत्यम विधातुम निज भृत्य भाषितम, अपने डिवोटी का वर्ड सत्य प्रूफ करने के लिए, निज भृत्य अपने सर्वेंट का वर्ड करेक्ट प्रूफ करने के लिए ही केम आउट ऑफ दैट कॉलम। और किस रूप में? अद्भुत रूप उद्वहन। Na mrigam na manusham, half man, half lion, to fulfill the words of Brahmaji, to fulfill the words of keeping everybody's words. अपने सारे devotees का word रखने के लिए, ब्रह्मा का word रखने के लिए, प्रहलाद का word रखने के लिए. So, so that was Prahlad. So when Prahlad was in a fearful situation, this thing that Dev came. This is, who is this? Which Leela is this? कितनी मजेदार कहानियां हैं कि नहीं भागवतम में, right? ये कौन सी कहानी है? This is Amrish Maharaj. This is Amrish Maharaj. And who's this personality in the middle? तो वो जो है वो अमरीश महाराज है, राइट? और ये कौन है बीच में? दुर्वासा मुनि जो भाग रहे हैं. और ये कौन है जो पैरों में पड़े हैं? दुर्वासा मुनि. किसके पैरों में पड़े हैं? अमरीश महाराज के. भागवतम अमेजिंग है. हमको लगता है एक बहुत बड़ा सन्यासी, एक बहुत बड़ा ऋषि, बहुत बड़ा डिटैच पर्सन, ज्ञानी, योगी, दुर्वासा. But when he offended a devotee of the Lord, which was Ambrish, Durvasa is not really, he's like an ascetic person, he's like a tapasvi, but he's not like a devotee. लेकिन Ambrish जो कि king हैं, जो कि पूरे kingdom को rule कर रहे हैं, but he is completely connected to Krishna. That's why Krishna says, you don't have to leave anything. You do your seva. इसलिए हम देखते हैं कि कितने बड़े-बड़े जो गृहस्थ लोग या फिर अपनी प्रोफेशन में, अपनी जॉब में डीपली इमर्स्ड लोग आर डिवोटीज ऑफ द लॉर्ड. जैसे परीक्षित राजा थे, युधिष्ठिर राजा थे, है ना, अम्बरीश राजा हैं. इस तरीके से अर्जुन पे कितनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज थी. सो लाइक दैट all these great people, they're professionals, they have children and they have wife and they have a lot of responsibility of their kingdom and their dependents. They're not ascetics, they're not sitting in forest doing dhyan, gyan, yoga. But when that yogi tried to offend अम्बरीश, उन्होंने उनको offend किया बहुत बुरी तरह और उनको मारने की कोशिश की. अम्बरीश ने भी वही किया जो परीक्षित ने किया था, हाथ जोड़कर खड़े हो गए कि I accept it, I accept your punishment. But that dragon, like that fiery thing that Durvasa had created, actually that turned into Sudarshan Chakra and started chasing Durvasa through all the planets. तो वो demon सुदर्शन चक्र बन के कि मेरे भगवान को, मेरे भक्त को कैसे तुमने offend करने की, मारने की कोशिश की. और वो उनको सारे दुर्वासा भाग रहे हैं और उनके पीछे पीछे सुदर्शन भाग रहे हैं और वो विष्णु तक पहुंच गए दुर्वासा. एंड विष्णु से आई कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग. आपका चक्र है, आप उसको रोक लो. Sorry, my chakra is not in my control. I'm completely under the control of my devotees. I don't know how to control this. But if you ask my devotee if he forgives you, then yes, chakra will stop chasing you, stop haunting you. So what does he say? He says, Aham bhakta paradhino हि अस्वतंत्र इवा द्विजा साधु वीरग्रस्ता हृदयो भक्तिर्भक्ता जना प्रिया. अहम भक्त पराधीनो, मैं तो भक्त के पराधीन हूँ, मैं तो स्वतंत्र हुई ही नहीं. ही अस्वतंत्र इवा द्विजा, ओ द्विज, ओ ब्राह्मण, मैं तो अस्वतंत्र हूँ. और सुप्रीमली इंडिपेंडेंट लॉर्ड जो स्वराट है वो दुर्वासा को बोल रहे हैं मैं तो अस्वतंत्र हूँ, मैं तो अपने भक्त के पराधीन हूँ. गो आस्क हिम for forgiveness, and if he wants, then Sudarshan Chakra will stop, but it is not in my control. So Lord has a very wonderful sense of humor. So he's really under the control of his devotees. Bhaktir bhakta jana priya, I'm under the control of my devotees. So you have offended my devotee, ask him if he'll forgive you. And so this is Amrish Maharaj, and he also says, Lord also says, साधवो हृदयं मह्यं साधुनां हृदयं त्वहं मद अन्यते न जानाति न हम तेभ्यो मनागपि. साधवो हृदयं मह्यं, मैं तो साधुओं के हृदय में रहता हूँ और वो मेरे हृदय में रहते हैं. साधुनां हृदयं त्वहं मद अन्यते न जानाति, मेरे बिना वो किसी और को नहीं जानते और उनके बिना मैं किसी और को नहीं जानता. So he says, Naham tebhyo managapi. I do not know anybody besides there. So I do not know who you are, but you have offended my devotee. So you ask forgiveness from him. So इसलिए फिर ये scene हुआ when Durvasa went and paid prostrate obeisances, then with pranam to Amrish Maharaj and asked for forgiveness. और कोई fearful situation बता सकता है other than all these that I've quoted? Mother Draupadi comes to mind, right? And she was in a fearful situation. Now think about it. Gajendra was in a fearful situation. There were all these elephants standing there. I don't know if you remember that picture. Unka pura tribe, unka pura family tha wahan pe. Nobody could save him. Could they save him? No. So we have our arrangements in this world, which is fine. We have our lawyers and doctors and people to help us. But when the real trouble comes, ultimately, there is only one ultimate supreme shelter. Similarly, Mother Draupadi, could anybody save her? They were her teachers there, her grandfathers and her superiors there, and her husbands there, 5 husbands, not one. We think our pati means protector. Our pati can protect us. She had 5 patis, 5 protectors. Could anybody protect her? So what did she say? So, yeah. So there is a verse that comes in. Avni, did you decide? You know which verse I'm talking about? There's a verse that comes in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, "मेरे devotee का कभी नाश नहीं हो सकता." I'm going to finish in a few minutes. भगवद गीता में एक वर्स आती है जिसमें कृष्णा सेज टू अर्जुन, ओ अर्जुन, डिक्लेयर इट बोल्डली दैट मेरे डिवोटी का कभी नाश नहीं हो सकता. एनीबॉडी नोज दैट वर्स? कैन यू रिसाइट इट?
क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शाश्वत शान्तिं गच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानाहि नामे भक्त्या प्रणश्यति.
कौन्तेय प्रतिजानाहि, ओ कौन्तेय, डिक्लेयर इट बोल्डली, नामे भक्ता प्रणश्यति, मेरे भक्त का कोई नाश नहीं कर सकता. So Mother Draupadi, it's described in Mahabharata. She calls out to Krishna and she says, "Pratigya tav Govinda name bhakta pranashyati iti samsmritya pranan sandharamyaham." वो वही प्रॉमिस उनको याद दिला रही हैं. क्या बोलती हैं? प्रतिज्ञा तब गोविंदा, ओ गोविंदा, आपने प्रतिज्ञा ली थी क्या? नामे भक्ता प्रणश्यति, कि मेरे भक्त का कभी नाश नहीं हो सकता. इति संस्मृत्या, ये याद रख के, ये याद कर करके, प्राणान संधाराम में हम, मैं अपने प्राण बचाए हुए हूँ, मैं अपने प्राण रखे हुए हूँ. सो शी इज रिमाइंडिंग हिज प्रॉमिस टू हिम कि आपने ये प्रॉमिस किया था. So there are so many people that have been in, difficult situations in this world, but actually the soul shelter is Supreme Lord. I'll finish with this. This is who's this great personality? This is Kunti Maharani. This is Queen Kunti. Queen Kunti इनके बिना हम खत्म नहीं कर सकते, because wonderful Mahabhagavad devotee of the Lord, who what did she say about difficulties? Because what do devotees do? I was telling you, devotees का क्या attitude होता है? 1, they think हमारे कर्म कट रहे हैं. 2, they think कि other person is just an instrument of my karma, so it's fine. Number 3, they think that कम करके दिया है, I deserve much more. But most importantly, devotees say that you gave me difficulty so I can meditate on you, I can think of you, I can connect to you more strongly. This is the most important thing. So difficulty में हम maximum ordinary people will turn away from the Lord, will become atheists. But actually आपको भगवान को और पकड़ लेना है. आप सोचो कि आप बच्चे हो, आप सड़क क्रॉस करो, you're crossing the street. There is a lot of there are dangers at every step. अब ब्रह्मा जी ने क्या कहा था? पदम पदम यत विपदाम न तेषाम. इस दुनिया में पद पद पे विपदा है. पदम पदम यत विपदाम न तेषाम. I couldn't go into the details of that verse, but he said there are difficulties at every step. Padam padam yat vipdam natesham. तो ये ऐसी रोड है जिसपे ट्रैफिक आ रहा है बहुत जोर से दोनों साइड पे. आप अपने पेरेंट के साथ रोड क्रॉस कर रहे हो. Should you hold his hand strongly and let it go? You need to hold his hand even strongly, right? तो जो बच्चा when he's crossing the street with his father, does he care ट्रैफिक आ रहा है? He doesn't care because his father cares. He doesn't care. आपको तो और स्ट्रांगली पकड़ लेगा. उसको तो पता भी नहीं चलेगा कब सड़क क्रॉस हो गई. तो डिवोटीज को पता भी नहीं चलता कब सड़क क्रॉस हो गई, कब डिफिकल्टी चली गई, बिकॉज दे अरे हाथ क्या पकड़ना है, गोद में चढ़ जाओ. Climb into the lap of your father. So surrender to him completely. Not only bad times, good times also, but bad times especially. Why would you turn away? उस टाइम पे तो और जरूरत है, उस टाइम पे क्यों टर्न हो गए? So I don't understand that when people turn away and start blaming him. भाई तुम हाथ पकड़ो ना, so then he'll take you across. But Queen Kunti क्या बोलती हैं? So this is the attitude of a devotee. आपने मुझे difficulty दी, so I can take stronger shelter of you. She says, विपदा संतुता शाश्वत तत्र तत्र जगत गुरु भवतु दर्शनम यत् स्याद् अपुनर्भव दर्शनम. अगर विपदा आने का मतलब ये है कि विपदा के साथ आप भी आओगे, then I want vipadas all my life, because she had so much difficulty, right? And she describes all the difficulties that she had. She said, विशान महाग्ने पुरुषाद दर्शनान् असत् सभाया वनवास त्रिश्रिता मृधे मृधे अनेक महारथास्त्रतो द्रोणी अस्त्रताश्चाश्मा Hare Birakshita. So these are all the difficulties she had. Vishan. Vish खिलाया गया था भीम को. Mahaagni. Agni, remember the Lakshagrah, right? The fire, great fire that was set to the house. Purushat Darshanat, when they were in the forest in exile, there were all these demons and daityas that were always tormenting them. Asat Sabhaya, the Asat Sabha, the horrible, abominable assembly where Mother Draupadi was dishonored. वनवास कृच्छ्रुता, ठीक है. मृदे मृदे अनेक महारथास्त्र. तो जब महाभारत हो रही थी, इतने महारथी थे, we could not face them. लेकिन आपकी वजह से we were able to face them. इतने महारथी. ऐसा नहीं था कि अर्जुन had potential to just, he could not stand in front of Bhishma. Bhishma alone could annihilate the whole Pandav army, right? But what did Arjun have? Krishna. So क्योंकि आप थे, हम उन महारथियों से लड़ पाए. And then last में, now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatham. So we've come back to the full circle of how he, so she said these prayers after Mother Uttara's prayers when he had saved Parikshit Maharaj. Droni means the son of Drona, Ashwathama, who had tried to kill our last heir. परीक्षित, उससे भी अब आपने हमको बचा लिया, उस ब्रह्मास्त्र से भी. So इतनी विपदा दी और हर विपदा के साथ आप आए. लेकिन अगर it means that you will come with each vipta, then I would rather have vipta. I'll rather have difficulties. So she's trying to, he's leaving and she's trying to stop him. Please don't go. Please don't go. Because even though it was a very difficult time, but you were there. I would rather have you, and I'm okay to face any difficulties. So with that, I'll stop. But this is the mood of a devotee, that in the fear they take shelter of Krishna. And of course, this is the last thing I wanted to show. Brajvasis, and the Govardhan Leela is mentioned in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. So he can move mountains for you. He will literally pick up mountains for you. So he can enter into the womb to protect you. He can break a column and come out of there to protect you. He can lift the mountains for you. Or kya proof chahiye that this is your Supreme Father and this is who you need to surrender to. And in this form, you can take shelter of him. So this Brajvasis who took shelter of him, and he was a little boy at that time, but they all ran to him whenever there is difficulty. There, Brajvasis have the highest mood. They run to Krishna, so he will lift mountains for you. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, the great Granth Raj. It's called Granth Raj. It is the topmost Puran. And Srimad Bhagavatam अपनी ही glories अपने ही मुंह से बताता है. लेकिन in this day and age, this is the best way to take shelter of Lord. It's full of Harinam. It's full of qualities, pastimes, name, fame, activities of the Lord, exchanges with devotees, emotions, beautiful dealings, beautiful reciprocations from the Lord. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is the Amal Puran. इसमें कोई और मल नहीं है. मल मतलब कंटामिनेशन नहीं है किसी ज्ञान की, ध्यान की, त्याग की, कर्मा की, धर्मा की, religious materialism की, देवी देवता worship की. None of that. It's just full of divine love, just Supreme Lord. So it is very dear to devotees, and I will not go into detail, but this verse is saying Manaso. You see in the second line, Manaso Mahotsavam. This gives you a festival of mind every day. किसी के festival of mind, like जो entertainment हम दुनिया में ढूंढ रहे हैं, this is the supreme type of entertainment to have. So रुचिरम नवम नवम, ऐसा नहीं, this is not like a materialistic book कि लॉर्ड ऑफ द रिंग्स की तरह या हैरी पॉटर की तरह की पढ़ लिया और खत्म. उसको भी लोग 10-10 बार पढ़ते हैं. और इसमें तो आपको रुचिरम नवम नवम, नए नए एक्सपीरियंसेस, नई नई रियलाइजेशंस, नई नई रेसिप्रोकेशंस मिलेंगी. आप दिन में 5-10 मिनट पढ़ोगे और सारे दिन आपको भगवान का प्रेजेंस फील होगी अपनी लाइफ में. मनसो महोत्सवम, मन में फेस्टिवल ऑफ माइंड शुरू हो जाएगा. So all this shoka will go away. And again, this says yad uttama shloka yasho anugiyate. So, okay, thank you everyone for this seva of hearing from this wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam. I hope that all of you will invite Srimad Bhagavatam into your life. It is not something, I hope that nobody leaves their body without coming in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam first. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Realizations, questions? Let's hear from someone who wants to share anything. Any points?